Testing the microphone. Testing. Alright. Seems that we're decently good to go. I got a makeshift setup going. But it seems like it's going to work for now. The editing is going to be the hard part. I haven't touched Adobe Premiere since, school. So, this is the first podcast on the YouTube channel. What are we going to talk about on the podcast, you may ask? Anything. Mostly sports, because that's what I fuck with. That's what I do. I'm a mixed martial artist. I used to do strength sports, strongman, powerlifting. Used to play football in high school. Play basketball with the homies. Any sport you could think of, I'm playing it. So that's basically what this podcast is going to be about. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the channel. What is this channel going to have on it? Basically everything. Well, not in a literal sense, but we got sports. I'm going to do a weekly podcast like right now about sports. I'm going to review football. I'm going to tune into some basketball, whatever's relevant in the current week, you know what I'm saying? And then I'm going to get an Elgato for my Xbox, so when I can play these older nostalgic video games and some of these newer video games, I can record the gameplay and make some video game videos. That'll be cool. So other than that, I want to make some training videos and some martial arts videos, but it's kind of difficult because I'm not really trying to train my sessions at the gym, which is kind of like a unspoken rule. Like, you're not really supposed to train your sparring sessions and shit, but I guess I can get Jacob and some of the homies up at the gym and we can film some shit and bang some heads around. So let's start this off with the topics. These are all these topics on this paper are user requested from my Snapchat. I asked around. I said I was starting a podcast and I asked people for topics. And I needed to brush up on my video editing. So I figured this would be the perfect opportunity to work on these sort of things. So, topic number 1. My man TTG, Tyler, let me know about. He said, make some videos, some fitness videos, and some workout videos for the fat motherfuckers. I got you. That was my shit. I'm going to have separate videos where that's just what I talk about. And if, like I said, keep the comments and the shit coming. Anything you say in the comments, that's just another excuse for me to sit here and talk for another 30, 40 minutes about some shit that may help you out. Because I took the time to learn it, so I got you. And also, I'm going to have to shout this man out in the description because he's got this clothing line coming out. And this shit's pretty fire, so. Alright, next topic. Before we get this is before we get to this week's relevancy of sports. I'm just going over some topics that people were asking me to talk about. So, first one, other than what I just said about Tyler, TGG. My next one is my friend Gabriel asked me to be nice to the New York Jets and the New York Knicks. You see, which I don't really have a problem with, because my boy Le'Veon Bell's not there anymore. All this, that's no beefs going on. You guys got Aaron Rodgers though, and he's gone week 1 for the whole season. I mean, I had to talk about it. You told me to be nice, but I had to bring it up. So that's rough. I heard Colin Kaepernick actually reached out to the Jets, and they were immediately like, yeah, no thanks. Which, me personally, I think is a bad idea, or a mistake, because my prime years of watching football, politics, anything out the window, just strictly on field-based performance and how the player played. I thought Colin Kaepernick was a pretty good quarterback. I liked watching him play, and I liked using his cards on Madden Ultimate Team, so I think the Jets should have gave him a chance even if he sat the bench for a whole year and only made a couple $100,000. But they don't want him. So another topic. This is two people. They're both named Caleb. They asked me about this. Caleb number 1 said, "Who is my MMA greatest of all time?" And then the other Caleb has asked me about my top 10 MMA fighters of all time. Okay, so this is going to take a minute. I might have to turn this to the other side and start a list 1 through 10. Let me write these numbers down. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright. So since I'm not going to compare female fighters to male fighters, I'm going to do a separate list for female fighters. Actually, no, I'm just going to do male fighters because I haven't watched a lot of older past UFC fights with females. I've only been watching recently since about UFC 260. So I'm just gonna go back because I have the Fight Pass and I watch all these fights and all these older fights of my top 10 MMA GOAT list, but strictly based on mixed between I liked watching them personally and I thought they were really good. So this is gonna be on the fly. So who are we going to put at the bottom at number 10? I'm going to have to put Kevin Randleman at number 10. Because anybody else is going to say that is going to be like, dude, look at his record. He's like 15-14, which I get it. But if you go back to the Pride days and you really watch that guy fight and you watch his press conferences and all this stuff, it's legit. That dude was a bad motherfucker. You wouldn't want to fight that motherfucker. Whether he had 25 wins, whether he had 50 losses, doesn't matter what his record looked like, you wouldn't want to fight that motherfucker. I'm telling you that right now. I can put a picture of that motherfucker up on the screen right now, and I'm just going to tell you right now, look at that man. He is a fucking specimen wherever I put it up on the screen. So, that's going to be number 10. Number 9. Oh, this is going to be... I'm just trying to do this on the fly, so bear with me. Number 9. I'm just going to go Diego Sanchez. Because that's what really got me into the UFC. Watching The Ultimate Fighter. I watched the very first season of The Ultimate Fighter. And Diego Sanchez and Chris Lieben were my 2 favorite fighters. But Diego Sanchez would fucking go in there, throw a bunch of hooks, take out your fucking legs, pound you to the ground, and just non-stop pound on your face until you were TKO'd. So, I'm going to have to go with Diego Sanchez for fighter number 9. Fighter number 8, which is also going to be another one of my favorite fighters to watch. I'm going to have to go Forrest Griffin. A lot of people are like, what? He wasn't really that good. Nowadays, he would get his ass beat, blah, blah, blah. Dude was badass. He's a cool personality. Read his book if you like books. It's pretty sick. Other than that, I was watching a video last night. A lot of you didn't know. You know Chael Sonnen, who fought John Jones and all the trash talker? Yeah. Before they even both made it to the UFC and they were young, Forrest Griffin caught him in a triangle and choked him out for a submission. And he beat Rampage Jackson. That's not easy to do. So I'm just going to put him up there at number 8. Number 7 of all time. Oh, man. This is really hard because there's a lot of people right now that are really good, but it's like we're comparing them to some of the people I like who already had a full career already. So, let's see. I'm just gonna have to put Conor McGregor because I'm not gonna put him much higher up than 7 because I think the dude's badass. He did his thing, first double champ, all that, but I wasn't really impressed by the strength of the division he was fighting in at the time. I mean, I know Jose Aldo was unstoppable. He was the boogeyman. This wasn't really Conor McGregor fan. Even though I have Irish in me, it's just like, I'm not really the biggest Conor fan, so I'm just gonna put him at number 7 just because of what he's done. Number 6. Oof. Alright, so we're here with Bet It or Forget It with Jacoby. The first question is, does Paulo Costa win by a finish against Khamzat Chimaev?
If Paulo Costa does win this fight, I am going to have to say bet it. This one is going to be an absolute brawl.
It's all good. The next question is, do the Jets have a chance of making the playoffs now that Aaron Rodgers is hurt?
Unfortunately, I am going to have to say forget it. Unless Zach Wilson does go on a, revenge tour. I don't think that he has the correct mindset either within himself or with the rest of his team in trusting him to lead them to a playoff spot. So, no.
Do the Pittsburgh Steelers make the playoffs despite showing lots of troubles early on the offensive side?
I am going to say bet it. Only in the case of I feel that it is a high chance if they fire Matt Canada, because I do not like the way that he runs that offense, that he just needs to go. But I feel if they can get everything together, they are a playoff caliber team, especially when they get to the playoffs. It's a whole different season.
All right, next question is, Dwight Howard worked out with the Golden State Warriors and they signed him. Is it a good idea for him? What do you think it's going to do for him? Was it a good call? Would you bet that decision, or would you have forgotten it if you were a GM?
Specifically in the Warriors state, Taiwan. Yes, Taiwan. He was trying to go on the whole recruitment tour, and he couldn't get everybody, so I guess he said, screw it, and let's go back to the NBA. But I'm going to say bet it.
I agree. I've always been a big fan of Dwight Howard. He's a monster. And then quick and final last question. Everyone's talking about on the sports, on Safari and Google, and saying that the Braves have the best offense of all time. And I'm going to have to say, I'm going to have to forget it right off the bat, because I don't see maybe the stat-wise, but when you look at the actual players on paper, there's no way.
Forget it. I do agree with you that some of the players on paper aren't up to par with, some of the other teams we've seen in the past. But let's not discredit how they are playing in the first place. Ronald Acuna Jr. is literally having the best season of all time. Statistics.
All right. Anyways, we're back. Hope you enjoyed that little segment I put together. Kind of cool, huh? Definitely an original idea. I didn't get that idea from anywhere else. All right, back to the list. So we were at number 6. And at number 6, I have Brock Lesnar. Who a lot of people are not going to agree with my list. I'm just talking about from my point of view. If you look at Brock Lesnar, it's another dude you just look at and it's like, you do not want to fight that dude. He'd beat the fucking piss out of you if he got on top of you. And he came from the WWE. Everybody thought he was just a big jack dude who couldn't fight, and then he came in and got the belt and fucking beat some ass, and I fucked with it. He was cool. I fucked with Brock Lesnar. Next, number 5 on the list, I got Nate Diaz. Stockton, motherfucker. Yeah, I got Nate Diaz. Just because it's Nate Diaz. He'll fucking smack you in the face, look at you like you're fucking trash after you just hit him with a 4-piece and made his fucking face covered in blood. He's still gonna look at you like you're dog shit. So, and he's just a clown and fun to watch. So, moving on, I got number 4, Chuck the Iceman Liddell. Dude was just a monster. If you go back and watch most of his fights, like you couldn't get the guy to the ground. His takedown defense was insane. He'd fucking punch you right through your block. He'd get you up against the cage. He'd just wail on you. He was just a bad motherfucker. It's like, this is more like a bad motherfucker list than like a top 10 statistic of all time. Because obviously, these aren't going to line up with statistics. Anyway, next. I got George St. Pierre at number 3. Just because of the fact that he only lost twice. The 2 guys that he lost to, Matt Hughes, Matt Serra. I guess George just couldn't fight guys named Matt, I guess. But other than that, he was real good. I mean, once he got knocked out, he kind of turned into a crotch sniffer, but dude's a legendary martial artist. That's all I can say. Number 2, I got Khabib Nurmagomedov. I mean, just the fact that the dude was never cut open. The dude never looked like his face was all swollen after a fight. The dude may have looked tired. He may have looked like he had zero energy left in the tank, but he'd still find a way to take you down, get on top of you, and just lay there and punch you. Whether he knocked you out, found a choke, or just straight up unanimous decision 30-27 to your ass, he'd win. And the only person who even came close to beating him was, I mean, what was his name? Bobby Green had a good shot. If that's who it was either Bobby Green or somebody else, and Justin Gaethje. That's about it. And then number 1's John Jones. It's just the baddest motherfucker ever exists in the UFC. Nobody can beat him. That's not much else to say about John Jones. He's just John Jones. So that's my top 10 list of martial arts MMA fighters of all time that I enjoy. So let's go back to the other topics. So Jacob Justice asks, he wants me to explain the effects of weight cutting and how it affects fighters' health and hydration clauses and all that sort of mumbo jumbo. But I haven't fought yet. My first fight will be relatively soon, but I haven't really done any of that process or researched it any really, so I don't really have too much information to really go off of. But what I do know, I have done some like small little tests. Like, for instance, I want to fight at 155 for my first fight. I walk around at about $165. I walked into the gym one day at $163. Didn't drink water the whole workout. Did weights, did cardio, did my swimming, and then I sat in the sauna for about 15 minutes, and I was 155. So if I could cut about 7 to 8 pounds in about an hour or two of just regular exercise and a couple minutes of the sauna, I'm guessing it's not too difficult and it's not too bad depending on the person, but at the same time, there's guys that'll go way worse than that. I mean, I'm a naturally a big guy, but after I did that, it's like, dang, I might even be able to cut to 145 and might struggle a little bit. And it's like, but maybe if you really, really fiended yourself, you might be able to go down to 135. But then it's like, Jesus, dude, I don't know if that's even possible. But I don't know if I really agree with it. But it's just like every other sport. If everyone else is doing it and it puts you at a disadvantage to not do it, why would you not do it? I mean, it's a sport where you're going to get hurt and people are trying to fight you and hurt you. Why would you not take any advantage that's possible? That's my opinion. So once I get some more information on it and some more personal experience on it, I'll talk more about it, but that's how I feel about it. And the hydration shit, it's either yes or no. If there's no clauses, then you don't get to rehydrate. If there is, then you get to rehydrate. You shouldn't fight dehydrated. It's not good for you or your health or your blood pressure or your heart or any of your arteries or yeah, basically that. So, and then I got one more thing on here, one more topic before we get to this week in sports. My buddy Connor asked me what I think about Conor McGregor being on steroids. So, I mean, technically, yeah, I agree. Because if you put all the pieces of the puzzle together, it's pretty obvious, you know? He stopped fighting, hasn't been in the drug testing pool, gets crazy big. We're just now getting to the point where he wants to come back and fight again. Now he's starting to shrink down a little bit again, so it's like, I don't know if that's just him going crazy in the weight room and not going to class or martial arts and he's just lifting and chugging a bunch of fucking mass gainer, or dude is just straight up going to different countries and walking in the pharmacy and just fucking because you could do that. But yeah, those are the main topics and everything that people wanted to talk about. So I guess we're gonna move on to sports. Close this up. So the last fights, Shevchenko versus Grasso. I only watched a handful of fights. I didn't make it to the main event. One of my favorite fighters fought, though. His name is Roman Kopylov, however you want to pronounce it. Dude's a Russian kickboxer, and he's got the most lethal kicks that I've ever seen. And he won by a TKO body shot after he kicked a dude right in the liver and then punched a dude right in the liver, and then he fell on the ground like a little baby. It was pretty impressive. And I think that dude, you can mark my words, will be in the top 5 by the end of next year. Or, yeah, you can take me up on that one. All the other fights I didn't really watch on the main card. I mean, Kevin Holland losing by split decision is kind of tough. It's like, where does he go? What does he do? You know, he's just like a win-loss kind of fighter, but people still like to watch him, so it's like, who knows what's going to happen with Kevin Holland in that division with JDM and Ian Gary and all these dudes. It's just a lot of competition, and it's going to be hard to really do anything. So, with that being said, the split draw, I didn't watch the fight, but after I saw the end of the fight and I saw Shevchenko's face and then Grasso's face, it looked like Shevchenko got hit in the face with a baseball bat. So, that's just my interpretation of maybe you got beat around a little bit. And I watched highlights and shit. I think she won 10-8 round or not in the last round. I think Grasso won that fight. Other than the UFC fights. My team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, finally, after being dog shit in week 1, literally getting destroyed by the 49ers, our defense decided to come and carry us to victory. So, our offense is still pretty shit. Kenny Pickett's not really showing me anything. His quick slant routes in the small little pockets, he can't fit them into. He's throwing it too low. It seems like he's nervous. He doesn't want to throw interceptions, but then he throws interceptions, and then we can't move the ball because our offensive coordinator's calling shit plays. I mean, we won by a couple points, and they turned the ball over 4 times. If they didn't turn the ball over 4 times, we probably would have gotten blown out. So, we got the dub. It was a divisional game against Cleveland. Deshaun Watson couldn't get it done. We got it done. We're 1-1. I'm happy with it. But what I wasn't happy with was Nick Chubb watching his knee. Nick Chubb's knee is toast. Like, when you get right off the fresh heel and then you put the butter on it and you drop it in the toaster and then it goes ding! Right when his knee went out, that's what I heard. I heard the little toaster, like, popping up. It's toast. Like, I feel so bad for that dude. You know what I mean? Hopefully he can come back. Prayers up to him, but it's toast. That's just my opinion. I don't think, after watching that, it's toast. So, I think that's about it with football. I know Miami's 2-0. They're destroying some people and shit. Tyreek Hill's, I've heard he's been carrying everybody's fantasy league, but it's to be expected. Nobody can guard him. He's too fast. So, yeah, football's a little crazy, a little mixed up. Other sports, what's going on in other sports? That's all I'm really been caught up to date on. So, let's see if there's any other things that I want to bring up before I get out of here. I don't know. I think that'll probably about do it. You know? That's about all the topics. That's about all that's up with sports. I mean, baseball's kind of at a standstill, so yeah, that's about it. I mean, I can talk about me a little bit before I get out of here. I'm training. Actually considering taking some time off from wrestling and jiu-jitsu and focusing more on boxing and seeing where that goes. So, if you want to follow me on social media, I'm going to put all my social medias right down here. You can follow me. You can follow along. I'll post to my stories. You can see what I'm doing. You can hit me up. You can talk to me personally. Give me suggestions. We'll figure it out. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. And we'll either catch you next week with the next sports podcast, or we'll catch you with probably a UFC Undisputed 3 Xbox 360 classic MMA video game. I'll probably do like a career mode or a title mode or like a tournament of heavyweights or some out of that ordinance. I'll do something like that with a little face cam and stuff. Yeah, we'll get some cool videos going if you guys are down to watch. So that's it for me, guys. I'm ready to hit the button. See you guys later.